My Life as an Indian. The Story of a Red Woman and a White Man in the Lodges of the Blackfeet, written by James Willard Schultz, narrated by Lomakayu. Chapter 1. Fort Benton. Wide brown plains, distant slender flat-top buttes, still more distant mountains, blue-sided, sharp-peaked, snow-capped, odor of sage and of smoke of campfire, thunder of 10,000 buffalo hoofs over the hard, dry ground, long, drawn, melancholy howl of wolves breaking the silence of night. How I loved you all. I am in the sere and yellow leaf, dried and shriveled, about to fall and become one with my millions of predecessors. I sit here by the fireplace in winter, and out on the veranda when the days are warm, unable to do anything except live over in memory the stirring years I have passed upon the frontier. My thoughts are always of those days before the accursed railroads and the hordes of settlers they brought swept us all, Indians and frontiersmen and buffalo, from the face of the earth, so to speak. The love of wild life and adventure was born in me, yet I must have inherited from some remote ancestor, for all my near ones were staid, devout people. How I hated the amenities and conventions of society. From my earliest youth I was happy only when out in the forest which lay to the north of my home, far beyond the sound of church and school bell and the whistling locomotives. My visit to those grand old woods was necessarily brief, only during summer and winter vacations. But a day came when I could go where and when I chose. And one warm April morning long ago, I left St. Louis on a Missouri River steamboat bound for the far west, land of my dreams and aspirations. I had read and reread Lewis and Clark's journal, Catlin's 8 Years, The Oregon Trail, Fremont's expeditions. At last I was to see some of the land and the tribes of which they told. The sturdy, flat-bottomed, shallow-draft stern-wheel boat was tied to the shore every evening at dusk, resuming her way at daylight in the morning, so I saw every foot of the Missouri shores, 2,600 miles, which lay between the Mississippi and our destination, Fort Benton, at the head of navigation. I saw the beautiful groves and rolling green slopes of the lower river, the weird badlands above them, and the picturesque cliffs and walls of sandstone, carved into all sorts of fantastic shapes and formed by wind and storm, which are the features of the upper portion of the navigable part of the river. Also I saw various tribes of Indians encamped upon the banks of the stream, and I saw more game than I had thought ever existed. Great herds of buffalo swimming the river often impeded the progress of the boat. Numberless elk and deer inhabited the groves and slopes of the valley. On the open bottoms grazed bands of antelope, and there were bighorn on nearly every butte and cliff of the upper river. We saw many grizzly bears and wolves and coyotes, and in the evenings when all was still aboard, the beavers played and splashed alongside the boat. What seemed to me most remarkable of all was the vast number of buffalo we passed. All through Dakota and through Montana clear to Fort River, hundreds and hundreds of them drowned, swollen, in all stages of decomposition, lay on the shallow bar where the current had cast them, or drifted by us down the stream. I believe that the treacherous river, its quicksands, and its unevenly frozen surface in winter, played as great havoc with the herds as did the Indian tribes living along its course. We passed many and many a luckless animal, sinking down into the tenacious black mud or sands, until finally the turbid water would flow smoothly on over their lifeless forms. One would naturally think that animals crossing a stream and finding themselves under a high-cut bank would turn out again into the stream and swim down until they found a good landing place. But this is just what the buffalo in many cases did not do. Having once determined to go to a certain place, they made a beeline for it, and as in the case of those we saw dead and dying,
Sample complete. Ready to continue?